Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. College football week 1 continues. One last game, and it's a good one. LSU USC. As far as Saturday, definitely wasn't my day. Actually, on the surface, it doesn't look too bad. My top bets are 2-2 so far. So that doesn't look terrible, but I lost some other bets on the side, so I'm definitely down today. If I can get Wyoming plus 7.5, actually, it won't even be that bad at all, but they're off to a terrible start, Wyoming. And, man, I don't even want to talk about Rice ever again. I am shocked at how bad Rice looked in that game, but whatever. Let's put it in the past, move on. We got LSU USC. Let's do it.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
All right, like I said, LSU USC. This one's at a neutral site. It's in Vegas. LSU laying 4 or 4.5, depending on your sports book. This one opened up at 6.5, so it's dropped a couple points. Total sitting at 64.5 right now. Opened at 66.5, so that's also dropped a couple points. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we got 32.8 for LSU, 28 even for USC, so a slight lean on LSU, but again, we're using last year's model, so probably should disregard this for now. So let's get into this one, and we'll start with the changes to the LSU coaching staff. Obviously, Mike Denbrock gone, left. He took the Notre Dame OC job. We're actually just watching the end of that one right now. But more importantly, well, I shouldn't say more importantly, but the more notable change is they fired Matt House, the defensive coordinator, and they bring in Blake Baker from Missouri. Now, he put together a solid defense over there in Missouri. Here are their numbers from last year. Solid against the run, solid against the pass, definitely a borderline top 25 defense. I don't know too much about them, but on the surface, it looks like a pretty solid hire. And then on the USC side, kind of a similar situation. Now, their OC is still there. Henson, Lincoln Riley, obviously still there. But they fired their DC as well, Alex Grinch. They bring in Danton Lynn, and he was coaching the UCLA defense last year, which was excellent. One of the best pass rushes in the country last year. Here are the UCLA defensive numbers from last year. Definitely a top 25 defense, maybe even a top 10 defense. So both of these teams taking steps to improve their defense this year. And if you watch college football last season, you know that both of these teams needed to take steps to improve their defense this year. That was the glaring weakness with both of these programs. 2 elite offenses, 2 terrible defenses last season. But why don't we start and talk about the loss of production at quarterback on both sides. 2 NFL guys gone. I'm sure you've heard of them. Caleb Williams on the USC side, Jaden Daniels on the LSU side. Look at the numbers lost here. Passing yards, rushing yards. Well, rushing yards more so on Jaden Daniels. 91 total touchdowns between the 2 of these guys gone. That's actually crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that before. So no question, these 2 quarterbacks have some huge shoes to fill. So why don't we start out with the USC side. Here are their offensive play calling numbers from last year. Obviously, as we know, USC passes a lot. In fact, that's pretty much all they do. If you look at their production, their rushing numbers aren't really bad, but again, they don't really run the ball at all. They're mostly a passing team, at least they have been recently. Passing numbers, this is a top 10 passing unit, as I'm sure you know. Caleb Williams. And you know what? Miller Moss better be ready to play now, because it's shaping up like USC's going to have to be a passing offense again. Their top 3 rushers are gone from last year, combined for over 1,400 yards rushing. USC's offensive line, a bit of a concern for me. Not that this offensive line was terrible last year, but it wasn't great. Here are their blocking numbers. Pretty average run blocking numbers. Their pass protection actually a little bit below average. And if you watch USC, you know that was a thing. Caleb Williams running for his life a lot of last year. These are not great pass blocking metrics here. And the offensive line is in a bit of a situation. 3 starters gone from last season. That's not exactly what you want to see when you have a new quarterback taking over the job. Now, you might be thinking, Kyle, who cares? They're playing LSU. LSU doesn't play any defense. And if we're talking about last year's LSU team, you wouldn't be wrong. Look at their defensive metrics. 98th in yards per play allowed, 97th in defensive success rate. Definitely not good against the pass at all. But here's one thing I will point out about LSU's defense last season. And look, by no means am I going to sit here and try to tell you that LSU's defense was good. Of course it wasn't. But their pass rush wasn't bad. They were the 31st rated pass rush, 55th in sack rate, 42nd in pass rush win rate. Didn't generate a ton of pressure, but as a whole, the pass rush wasn't nearly as bad as the rest of their defense was. And keep in mind, they got a new DC in here. This guy comes from Missouri, who we already mentioned, had a great defense last year. They also had a great pass rush. And LSU brought back some of their main pieces as far as the pass rush goes. Harold Perkins is back. Now, they used him as an inside linebacker a lot last year, not strictly an edge rusher, but we know he's certainly capable. Greg Penn III is back. He had 4 sacks last year, 89 tackles. What's the other guy's name? Where is he on this list? 1 second. Sevion Jones is back. He's a defensive end for them. So they're bringing back some pass rushers, and this pass rush wasn't half bad last year. We just mentioned how USC's offensive line, 3 starters gone, and they struggled in pass protection last year. So I think LSU's pass rush is going to get home. I do. So what can we really expect from Miller Moss at quarterback here? Obviously, we don't love the idea of LSU's pass rush giving him some problems, and that might be a situation. As far as his performance, I mean, I'm sure you all know he went absolutely ballistic in the Holiday Bowl. 372 yards, 6 touchdowns, a 218 passer rating. Basically, that performance won him this starting job, or at least people are saying that. I don't know if there's truth to that, but it certainly seems like this performance right here got him this starting job. Can he replicate anything like this? I truly have no idea. I know a lot of people I trust are very big on him. Some people say he's a sleeper pick for the Heisman. Might not even be a sleeper pick, honestly. So, yeah, ceiling is sky high here. I mean, not only is he the quarterback for USC, but he's also the quarterback in Lincoln Riley's offense, which means you're definitely going to be in the Heisman discussion. But I don't like the idea of LSU's pass rush winning their battles against USC's offensive line, which I think has a high probability of happening. And also, USC's 2 receivers are gone. Rice and Washington, they both got drafted in the 7th. I believe they both went in the 7th round, actually, and I think the one guy got cut. But their wide receiver 1 and 2 are both gone. Now it's USC. They have other receivers for sure, but I really would like to see some more experienced receiving weapons out there for Miller Moss in this one. LSU ran a ton of zone coverage last season. And typically the quarterback and receiver being on the same page, making the same read, that's how you beat zone coverage. That's why you always take Travis Kelce overs against a team that runs zone coverage, because he always goes off. Him and Mahomes are on the same page. It typically is true for a lot of veterans. Don't like how there's a new quarterback and the wide receiver 1 and 2 are both gone. Now, to be fair, the DC's gone, and the new DC that comes in from Missouri, they ran man coverage last year. So this might be completely irrelevant because they might be running man this year. So this might have been a waste of your time to read it. Overall, on this side, though, I got to say I really don't love the matchup for USC's offense here. I know you hear USC, Lincoln Riley against LSU's defense. Everyone's expecting them to go off. I think LSU's pass rush is going to win their battles, and I think the real weakness of LSU's defense is going to be defending the run this year. They lost a lot of their interior defensive line. USC doesn't run the ball. They lost their top 3 RBs, and they have a shaky offensive line. I don't trust Lincoln Riley's offense to be the one to exploit a bad run defense. They need to throw the ball, and LSU is going to have a pass rush, or at least I think they're going to. So I think LSU's defense will be able to make stops here. Now, on the other side of the ball, we got the LSU offense, and you're not going to get more green than this graphic right here. Best offense in college football. Wasn't really even a discussion. Obviously, the Heisman Trophy winner. Jaden Daniels is gone. The new RB1 on the team is Josh Williams. 284 yards rushing last year. He was 3rd on the team. Did average over 5 yards per carry and 5 rushing touchdowns. But the strength of this LSU team this year is going to be the offensive line. First of all, they were one of the best offensive lines in college football last year. In fact, next to Georgia, maybe Notre Dame, I would put them 3rd or 4th. I mean, they were right up there. LSU's offensive line was great last year. They bring back 4 starters. Only the center is gone. So that great LSU offensive line from last year that were scoring 50, 60 points a game and leading Jaden Daniels to his Heisman Trophy, they're basically back. I know everyone's talking about Malik Neighbors being gone. I know everyone's talking about Brian Thomas being gone. They're both in the NFL. Huge losses. I'm not trying to downplay them. But personally, I'd be more worried if this offensive line was gone. The fact that they get 4 of these 5 guys back, I mean, it's LSU. They're going to have talent at the wide receiver position. If you don't believe me, go to Google, type in LSU wide receivers in the NFL right now, and have yourself a good read. They're going to have talent at this position. Yeah, they lose 2 superstars, but the offensive line's back. Obviously, Brian Kelly's still there. I think they'll be fine. I still think they're going to be one of the best offenses in the country again this year. And they're matched up against USC's defense, and just like LSU's defense, the graphics looking pretty red here. Certainly struggled against the run. Actually slightly better against the pass, believe it or not. 91st in yards per play allowed, 112th in success rate. And just like LSU's defense, the only strength on the defensive side for USC was rushing the passer. Look at these numbers on the right side of this graphic. Actually a decent pass rush. The difference is LSU's offensive line was elite in pass protection last year. USC's was not. And LSU's offensive line from last year brings back 4 starters. USC's only 2. So LSU on the offensive side, much better equipped to deal with a pass rush than USC is, and it shouldn't even be close in that department. Now, when we get to the quarterback, this is probably where a lot of people see the discrepancy here. Miller Moss is being talked about as a Heisman Trophy candidate. Garrett Nussmeier, really not. But the thing is, Nussmeier is more experienced, and just like Miller Moss, he did go off in the bowl game. 395 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 160 passer rating. Now, it's not 6 touchdowns, but still he went off. And like I said, unlike Miller Moss, this dude's been with LSU for 3 years. He started games before. I mean, he's not as brand new as Miller Moss. In fact, this kid played in the SEC championship game in 2022 against Georgia. I mean, this kid is experienced, so I am not worried at all with him at quarterback, especially behind that offensive line. Like I said, I think LSU will be a top 10 offense again. And the reason that's significant, look how USC's defense performed against ranked opponents last year. They allowed 42.5 points per game. 50.6% defensive success rate is crazy. PPA, crazy. 7.31 yards per play allowed. 7.31 yards per play. That is crazy. Every time USC's defense saw a good offense, they got cooked last year. So look, USC brings in a new defensive coordinator. Maybe they improve in that department as the year progresses, but week 1 against LSU, that's a tough ask, man. I think LSU's offense is going to score points, which is why I'm on the LSU side. I bet it at -4. Also wouldn't be mad at an over, even though the market's moving it the other way. Moved it down 2 points since the open. If you want to see all the bets I have open currently, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on open bets. You'll see me and every member of the staff right on that page if you're interested. Also, if you sign up for Sauce Network Plus, you can participate in the betting league. All right, so here's how it's going to work. This is the first time I'm explaining this on YouTube, and it starts this week. So if you're a member of Sauce Network Plus, you can participate in the league. Now, the first night of football, if you submit bets in the Discord for the league, you'll be assigned a division at random. So depending on how many people sign up, maybe 8 divisions, 12 divisions, we'll see. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'll be submitting bets in the Discord for the league. Whoever is leading their division at the end of the day, Sunday, the division winners will compete on Monday Night Football for the $150 and the trophies, which I think got here today. So the football handicapping trophies are in. So that's how it's going to work. I'll post a video explaining it in the Discord. So if you're interested in that, head over to the website. Let's have ourselves a nice Sunday night here. Bet some baseball. Get some of the dollars I lost in college football today. It's all right. Early in the season, and I was having a nice little run there. I knew it couldn't last forever. I remember to bet responsibly. I'll talk to you in the Discord.